The Voice of Life Radio now presents CCN Magazine, featuring church and community news.
Hello, here is a CCN Magazine for May 16, 2015. First, the headlines. Women's Convention at Good News Baptist Church, Petit-Savan. Joint Evangelistic Crusade for the Valley. Daly's Pentecostal Church to host crusade. Churches to pray for Israel this Sunday. From the community, Caribbean experiencing moderately to severely dry conditions. International Nurses Day observed. Kalinago Territory produces new canoe for Guadeloupe. Schools celebrate Numeracy Day. Quail's Spelling Bee on Wednesday 13. Residents of Salisbury express discontent with feeder roads upkeep. Lupus Foundation. We also have regional stories. Now, here are the details. The Southern District of the Good News Baptist Church on Sunday convened at Petit-Savan for their Women's Convention under the theme, The Role of Women in the 21st Century. Main speaker of the convention, Delroy Regist, had this to say.
One of the things that was mentioned is that term sexism in the local churches. And the thing is, many of us, there are some type of discrimination that are being practiced, but the church in itself is not fully aware of what is happening, where most women, there are limits put up on them as to what they can do and how much they can do in the church. But we need to become aware of their responsibilities because there are major roles that they can play. And the church today, we need to understand what it is and how they are able to help in the development and sustainability of the local churches. We look at a few women who were prophetess, those who got called and they were able to speak, they were able to preach, they were able to talk, and the role that they play, the leadership.
Delroy Regist. Waton-Waven Pentecostal Church is collaborating with the Waton-Waven Baptist Church to host a joint evangelistic crusade on Sunday, 17th May. Expected to be part of the crusade are saints from the Mount Prosper Christian Union and the Pentecostal churches. Speakers are Pastors Mervyn Anthony, Dolph Valerie, Alina Moranci, and Jeffrey Xavier. The services will open with praise and worship led by the Baptist Church and ends with a talent night on Friday, 27th May. It is hoped that partnership will be maintained as together the churches unite to win souls in the community. An evangelistic crusade begins at the Daly's Pentecostal Church this Sunday, May 17. Administering the word will be Apostle Hilton Albert of St. Martin. Pastor Eddie St. Jean is looking forward to the outpouring of the Spirit and many souls embracing the free gift of salvation.
We're hoping to achieve saving lives, transforming lives, and to see our backsliders return to God. We want to see growth and development in our community where believers strengthen themselves in God, to see that our young people live up to the standard that God wants them to live. Inviting other people who want to attend the service. We are looking forward for a good time.
Pastor St. Jean. As Christians, we are mandated to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. This year, in observance of Pray for Israel, the group Christian United for Israel, Dominica Chapter, is requesting that individual churches keep intercessory prayer for Israel on May 17.
We want people to be sensitized in their own assembly as to the whole aspect of Israel. Because most times at the rally, you find all the churches are not attending, but in the individual assemblies, at least can be sensitized as to the whole aspect of Israel. That we as a people can receive a blessing.
President of Christian United for Israel, Pastor Kennedy Dupuy. Amid the blessing declared in the word to pray for Israel, we encourage you to direct your prayers for Israel where there are suffering souls struggling and fighting to thrive in the midst of physical, political, and spiritual warfare. Community Stories. In a press release dated May 8, 2015, the Office of Disaster Management, ODM, alerted the public concerning the moderately to severely dry conditions that the region is experiencing at the moment. By comparison, Dominica's weather is abnormally to moderately dry, while Antigua and Barbuda is severely dry and Anguilla as extremely dry. One Caribbean island, Guyana, has advanced its drought plan as it experiences drier than normal conditions. The office states that these dry conditions are expected to continue and encourages residents to take all precautionary measures against the effects of brush fires and against possible dehydration that can be caused by the extreme hot and dry conditions. In Dominica, residents in areas prone to brush fire, notably the West Coast, are asked to guard against the burning of brush and other debris in open spaces during the dry period. In the same release, the Office of Disaster Management mentioned that while the Caribbean and the U.S. are expected to undergo below-average hurricanes this year, residents are still required to exercise normal preparatory means for the season. The names used for the 2015 hurricane season are Anna, already appeared outside the U.S. Carolina coast, Bill, Claudette, Danny, Erica, Fred, Grace, Henry, Ida, Joaquin, Kate, Larry, Mindy, Nicholas, Odette, Peter, Rose, Sam, Teresa, Victor, and Wanda. Under the theme, Nurses, a Force for Change, Care Effective, Cost Effective, the Nurses of Dominica celebrated International Nurses Day on Tuesday, May 12, 2015. According to the acting principal nurse, Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, the nurses in Dominica have come a long way, but there is still room for improvement as there is a need for specialized nurses training. President of the Dominica Nurses Association, Nurse Deborah Phillip, had this to say.
Since nurses are at the core of attaining the best quality of care, it is essential that nurses and policymakers focus on the nursing role in care-effective and cost-effective healthcare system. Quality improvement should not be considered a separate function within the role of care providers, but rather an ongoing part of the professional role for all nurses.
Deborah Phillip, President of Dominica Nurses Association. The Kalinago Territory's naval carpenters have been recruited for a second time to construct a traditional Kalinago dugout canoe called a canoa. A delegation of 30 persons of Canoa Association of Guadeloupe visited Dominica on April 10, 2015 to negotiate the work and start construction. A gomia tree was felled in the heights of Syndicate and construction is expected to take 3 months. Spokesperson for the Kalinago team, Regina Joseph, explained.
We already completed the core of the Canoa, and then now we're working on the borders. We are making it for the people in Guadeloupe, and then we are still part of the organization with them. When we will finish the Canoa, we will be paddling it up to Marigalland, and from Marigalland to then to Guadeloupe. So the first one was Kubulika 1, and the second will be Kubulika 2. The Canoa is close to the Indian River in Portsmouth. It is 48 feet long.
Regina Joseph. The week of May 10 started with a protest by residents of the west coastal village of Salisbury, one of the largest agricultural communities on Dominica, where farmers produce a surplus of agricultural produce because of the vastness of their plantations. According to reports, residents have for years expressed dissatisfaction with the feeder roads leading to the farms and have been in a go-fro with the government over this issue for as many years. CCN Magazine spoke with residents of the community on this issue.
Everybody's got to fight for what they need and what you believe in, and I agree totally, 100% with what was happening, and not the violence way was going on, you know? I mean, but one has to start it and the other one react about it. But whatever the farmers were doing, they stand there right, and I'm 100% behind them. What else?
Even though I tell you, you'll not believe, I want you to come and visit. Take a drive to Salisbury, right? You have to experience it for yourself. Yeah, and I'm very angry. Come down, take your vehicle, take your SUV.
16 years, we need repairs on our road and nothing has been done. So this is the only way for us to make the government know that we're serious.
The Prime Minister responded to the matter.
So there's a request for the approval of some funds to effect the improvements of that road. There was a delay because obviously one has to do detailed estimates if you're going to go through a tender process as required by the Procurement Act. If there was a Procurement Act, we would have done it a long time ago, but you have to go because of the amounts, go through a tender process of getting certain sections of the roads approved. There's an area where there was a landslide. It blocked the culvert. You have to dig it up and redo that crossing there so that the water can flow in the drains and not on the surface itself. So that's our commitment to do some things in the interim. So this is where we are with regards to the Salisbury Road.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. We praise God that this issue was resolved in an amicable manner. On Thursday, May 14, schools observed Numeracy Day. The Roseau Primary School made a whole day activity of it. Here are comments from Miss Corinne George, coordinator of the activities.
Numeracy is an important aspect in children's life because in everything we do in the world, we need mathematics. A lot of children find math is hard, they find it is difficult. But having a Numeracy Day, we allow the students to see that math can be fun because in most of their career choices, it has to deal with at least some aspect of mathematics. So it also helps the teachers to realize you can also do math or teach math to the students in a fun way. It was an island-wide Numeracy Day. We had an opening prayer where the children prayed different prayers using mathematics terms. We had a math poem and jingle competition, an exhibition showcasing the children's work and the different aspects of mathematics. We also had a math power competition for the different grades, which I believe was the highlight of the day. For the category K-1, winner Ajwa Bernaby of grade 1. In grade 2 and 3, winner Noah Roye of grade 3. Grade 4 and 5, the winner Jada Samuel of grade 5. And in grade 6, winner Omari Hillier.
Miss Corinne George. You may go to Voice of Life Facebook page to view pictures. The Dominican Lupus Foundation last week observed a week-long activity in an effort to sensitize the public to this illness, which affects more women of African American, Hispanic, and Asian and Native American descent than Caucasian women. Lupus is an illness which affects the immune system by attacking healthy cells and tissues. It can lead to the damage of many parts of the body, such as the joints, blood vessels, and major organs. Well-wisher Joanne Commodore had this to say.
First of all, I want to thank the people who did support us. We're grateful to them. A lot of people did donate and give donations, etc., so we're very grateful for that. I must say that there were some places we didn't get anything from, but by and large, a good amount, as much as we had hoped. In terms of the events that we had, some of the events we couldn't make because, lupus people tend to be a little ill, especially now that the seasons are kind of changing over. It's a bit warmer now. We did get a lot of donations, but it wasn't reflected in the number who showed up. A lot of people didn't come, but a lot of people did donate, and we are grateful for that. Food was really delicious, so thank you to Fort Young for that. In terms of the walk, we're planning to do another one because we had not planned this one properly.
Joanne Commodore. On Wednesday, 13th May 2015, the Comité pour Études Creole, CEC, and the Division of Culture, Dominica, organized the Creole Spelling Bee competition for pupils of grades 4 to 6. One of the organizers of the event, Raymond Lawrence, had this to say.
I was quite satisfied, I thought, with the way it went. I was happy about the participation of the schools. I'm happy about the standard and the quality of the performance, the presentations of the students. So, of course, we have to thank the schools, the principals, the children who participated. And then we want to thank the sponsors as well, because events like that always present challenges like financial and other resource challenges. So when the sponsors come forward, it make it easier for us to be able to stage those kinds of events. And of course, we think the continued promotion and preservation of the language is very important because languages can disappear very, very quickly from our country. So that's why you want to keep promoting languages like the Creole, like the Kokoi.
9-year-old Klein George of Baybush Primary School emerged winner of the competition. He said he was happy to have won first place. Meantime, his elated father, Alexis George, had this to say.
after trying to just get everything right. I also want to say special thank you to Mrs. Josie. She's the principal of the Playbush Primary School, spending so much of her free time assisting him. I am so elated. Of course I want to compliment Client so much because this guy has been really into it.
Alexis George. The NGO Coalition Against Child Abuse in Dominica has been restructured. At a press conference held Wednesday, 13th May, the NGO did a brief introduction of new executive members and the objectives of the coalition. New Vice Chair Gloria Walsh had this to say.
We are just putting together documents to put in place to get stiffer penalties. So we will be discussing it at the NGO level. And then we have been meeting with the Minister of Community Development, Ms. Catherine Daniel, and also with DPS. So we have some workshops coming up, Full Child from Caribbean, where we're going to meet the stakeholders. We had a meeting with the police commissioner too. So we're trying to involve everybody on board to get things going to protect the children.
Gloria Walsh. The coalition will be having a town hall meeting on Wednesday, May 20, to discuss the objectives and activities of the group. Now for regional stories. The government of Jamaica has taken a step which the child abuse prevention units of Dominica hope to soon realize, to impose harsher penalties on people who either hurt children or fail to protect children placed in their care. The Jamaican cabinet has already approved the changes of legislation against the background of an increase in the abuse and murder of children in disturbing circumstances. Senator Falconer explained that under the amended CGA Act, a victim's status as a child would be treated as an aggravating feature, resulting in a substantial increase in the sentence on conviction, while new offenses would be created under the CCPA for allowing children to suffer abuse, including parental neglect and the failure of an adult to report suspected exposure of a child to sexual or other abuse. Of global interest, the discovery of a key mechanism in the cells which helps healthy people regulate their blood pressure naturally could lead to the development of new drugs to slash the risk of heart attacks and strokes. Scientists at the Riken Brain Science Institute in Japan discovered that blood pressure is dramatically reduced when a specific protein, IRAP1, is released from cells and enters the bloodstream. The finding could lead to a medication for people with hypertension, high blood pressure, who are at a higher than usual risk of strokes, heart attacks, and type 2 diabetes. Blood pressure is raised as the arteries and veins tighten. The IRAP1 protein counters this effect by digesting the hormone, reducing its levels in the bloodstream, and preventing it constricting the blood vessels. And that's a wrap on this weekend's edition of CCN Magazine with your presenter and producer, Medina James. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you in church.
You've been listening to The Voice of Life's CCN Magazine.